Hello and welcome to Market House, the podcast where we talk all things Disney. My name's Caleb.
And I'm Caitlin.
And this week we talk about Rogers the Musical details,
New Disneyland character meet and greets,
and we share our thoughts on Disney's best water rides. Let's dive in. All right, and this is episode number 89, and cannot wait to start talking Disney.
Yeah, welcome back as always, everybody.
Welcome back. It has been a good, productive week. It's been long, I feel like. I felt like it was a 2-week work week, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Monday felt like 2 days, Tuesday felt like 2 days, and the list goes on. It's just life is super busy. Half are good things and half is stinking work, but it's a necessary evil. We've got bills. We're adults now. I was telling Caitlin, sometimes like it hits me in the face. I'm like, this is what we talked about when we were kids, when we were dating. And like one day we're going to grow up and get married and live in a house and go to Disney when we want. And we're living it, which is so fun. But also it comes with being a responsible adult.
Well, it comes with the stuff that enable all those fun things to
Which is something called a work.
Like getting a new fridge.
Yeah.
And which that all went well, by the way.
It
You
did.
heard us talking
I'm sure
about that.
Everyone's just like so curious as to how our fridge delivery went.
Oh, I'm sure the week in between the last podcast was killing you all because you had to know about our fridge. Everything's working great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's not making weird noises and
It makes really great ice cubes.
Caitlin loves the ice.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
I love it.
If you need a review on fridges, come to Market House. We'll give it to you. But we just got home from a super fun day, and we're recording later than usual because we spent pretty much a whole day
Yeah.
with Emily and Clayton over at Make It Magical.
We had so much fun with them. We love them seriously, like dearly. They're some of our favorite people on earth, and it was just so fun getting to see them. We haven't seen them since before Disneyland.
Yeah, so fun. So it feels like I didn't feel that long to me, but then when we sat down with them, I was like, it has been that long. So we went and saw Elemental, which is the newest Pixar release, if you are not aware, because I bet you half of you aren't, because Disney did a terrible job of marketing this movie. I totally didn't even know it was out until like the second day it was out.
Right.
I was like, holy smokes, Elemental's out. And that explains the terrible box office numbers. I think it's the second worst Pixar opening ever. And yeah, so anyways, we went and we drove. They trekked up here to us last time. And so we tried to meet them as close as possible to their place. So we drove down about an hour and a half away from our house, but beautiful Sacramento and Bay Area traffic combined today for the perfect mix of about a 30 or 40 minute delay.
Yeah.
And so it took us about 2 hours to get down there.
Yeah. But it was all worth it.
All worth it. So anyways, we get down there, we watch this movie, and I'm not going to speak for them. We discussed it at lunch afterwards. But all I'll say is, like, I think at the end we all just kind of agreed it was a movie, and it was somewhat enjoyable. But it was not, at least it didn't feel like a Pixar movie.
Yeah. I think if you were to ask me specifically, like in my own words, was it a good movie? In my opinion, nah. Was it a bad movie? No. Would I watch it again? No. It was just kind of like, it was just one of those you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like I chuckled a couple of times. I smiled a couple of times.
Yeah. I did cry twice, I think.
But I think that's the thing is that it achieved so much. Like it got me laughing a little bit and Caitlin feeling some emotions. And I'm like, all right, it's doing the Pixar thing. But then in some other areas, most of the time I would argue, let's say 60 or 70% of the movie, I was very just like, meh.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate because, again, the last couple movies that have come out haven't been our favorite. And it's one of those things when you look at like Disney Pixar, which obviously we love dearly, you have these like expectations where you're going to come out going, that was amazing. And it wasn't that for us. So between, again, just Caleb and I speaking, it's one of those movies where we wouldn't suggest going to theaters and paying for it. Just wait for it to come out on streaming.
Yeah, and I think it comes out on streaming in the next like 2 or 3 weeks, I believe.
Maybe
a little longer, but I think sometime in July it comes out on Disney Plus. So just wait, save your money.
Yeah, one good thing I did want to mention is I loved the like main song.
Yeah, it's by It's LAUV. So I don't know how you pronounce his name. We like his stuff. He's very poppy on the radio.
Yeah, it was a good hit.
Yeah, it was fun. We were listening to it while we were eating PB&Js before recording this. It was
like children.
A dinner of champions, let me tell you. But it's one of those where we ate a super late lunch, and then you're like, I don't really want a full meal.
They had good popcorn at the movie theater, though.
They did. Caitlin's a big popcorn fanatic, and so it was a good rating, though.
Yeah.
And then, we grabbed some lunch, talked Disney, and just had a grand old time with our friends. So, that was a blast.
Yeah, we had a really great time. And also, I wanted to say the biggest thank you to everyone that has been sending us the sweetest messages on Instagram, wishing us well and congratulating us for the little one again. I just wanted to say thank you so much again. I know we popped on stories. I think it was this past week, I feel like, just to say thank you. But again, for everyone on here that has done so, we just, from the bottom of our hearts, we just feel so loved, and we appreciate all of you that have reached out.
For reals. Thank you so much for showing all that support, the kind words, the advice, all of it's super, we're appreciative. I appreciate it. It's all I don't know what happened there. Well, we appreciate it all. And thanks so much for sharing that. And again, we would have probably done a lot more on Instagram. It's been wonky on us. We were unfortunately one of the many accounts that have some really weird limitations. Facebook's been messing up, and by Facebook, the parent company Meta, and I don't even know what happened. So I don't know. It's very frustrating. I don't even want to get into it because it makes me very mad.
The week this episode is coming out, which is Monday, we should be golden. If not, you'll be definitely hearing from us on stories, but send good vibes.
Please, because unfortunately, a giant multi-billion-dollar corporation like Meta apparently can't afford to finance a customer service team that would help the normies like us, just the small guys, right?
Yeah.
If you've got 1 million plus followers, I think you get some kind of like hookup with like customer service. You get like an account rep almost.
Yeah.
Not so much for the little guys. So you can't even really contact anyone.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm giving them $16 a month for some check mark.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too where, again, like Caleb mentioned, we weren't the only ones affected. We had so many people reach out when we put a story up on Instagram that they're kind of like, I'm in the same boat. This is ridiculous. So again, I'm hoping all of us are in the clear as of next week, but if not, we're in it for another week. So we'll figure it out eventually.
Just, maybe follow along for updates there. Hey, before we dive into this week's episode, please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Seriously, it is a huge help to our show, and not only our show, but our friends' shows and everyone else out there. If you listen to a Disney podcast and you love what they're doing, please leave a review. It's a free way to support the show.
Yeah.
And again, it costs you maybe 2 or 3 minutes. You leave a 5-star rating and a little written review on Apple Podcast, or just a 5-star rating on Spotify. It means the world. It means the absolute world to shows like us, because it shows that you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
And other people get to see that you're enjoying it, and then maybe they give us a listen because of it.
Yeah.
So please do that. You can also support the show by using our Getaway Today link to book your Disney vacations. You can save an additional $10 if you use code MarketHouse10. All right, let's dive into the news.
All right, first up, we have some news regarding Rogers, which is the new musical coming to Disney's California Adventure. And it looks like the show is going to be taking place Tuesday through Saturday at the Hyperion Theater. And it looks like, as we mentioned before in previous episodes, this is going to be a very limited time that they're going to be showing this. So it looks like it's going to be starting on June 30th and running through August 31st.
Yeah, that is unbelievably short. That is 2 months. 2 months of this limited stage musical thing. And again, I'm happy. I'm really happy something is in the Hyperion because it's been vacant since the pandemic.
Right.
And it's such a giant space and such a waste not to have something showing there. So I'm really excited they're doing something, but I'm just so curious as to why they chose to do a very limited run of a show.
Yeah, because I've heard some speculation that people believe that they're trying to just testing it out to see if it catches on, and if it does, they're going to keep it going for a while. But I mean, who knows? But it does look like you'll be able to access viewing areas through a virtual queue system, which we all know how that can be. So
yeah, each day that the Rogers the Musical is performing, distribution for the complimentary virtual queue will begin at 10:30 a.m. for the first 2 showtimes of the day, and 2 p.m. for the remaining showtimes of the day. So multiple showings throughout the day. And so just make sure it's another annoying virtual queue, but it gets you a decent seat, I believe, to see that show.
Yeah, and they're also offering some limited time food offerings for Rogers. And it looks like they have a cherry, vanilla, and blue raspberry shake.
Whoa. It's all the colors of Captain America.
Of course.
Very patriotic. And then they've got a sausage and pepperoni wrap. If that doesn't scream artery clogger and a, I don't know what does.
And a pastrami pretzel dog.
Yum.
Which, that sounds delicious.
All of it sounds very good. Is it healthy? No, but it
Hey,
sounds delish.
When in Disney.
When in Disney.
Do
And then
it.
if you don't know, really quick before we move forward, if you don't know what Rogers the Musical is, I don't blame you. It is a fictional show that was featured in, it's so meta, to be honest. It's a fake stage show that was featured in Hawkeye,
Right.
the Disney Plus TV show with Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner. And that's it. They showed this like fake thing that's supposed to be like honoring the Avengers and specifically, Captain America. And yeah, and then there's this big musical number at the end of this show, and people loved it enough to where they developed a real life version of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Honestly, the concept is very weird, but let's see how it does. Rogers coming this summer. All right, and next up, we've got some San Francisco Square updates. It looks like some new experiences will be available actually in mid-July. So they're kind of like previewing what is to be expected for the rest of the land. What is it?
Yeah, I guess it's a land.
Area? You'll be able to sample new San Francisco selections at Lucky Fortune Cookery, so that name is staying the same, and the Port of San Francisco Cerveceria? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm assuming that's replacing, what's it called? Rancho Cucamonga or whatever? What's it called?
No, it's, is it Cocina? Cocina?
Yeah, Cocina Cucamonga.
Yeah.
Not I think I combined Rancho del Zocalo with that. Okay, so Cocina Cucamonga. I'm assuming that name's replacing it. So it's going to officially open around mid-July. And then in the weeks following, additional dining options, unique shopping, and more will be introduced as the transformation of this thriving seaside plaza continues through mid-August. So let me tell you about the new experiences in San Francisco. You've got the Hamada Bot Shop. Is that how you pronounce that? Hamada?
Yeah.
And I think this is, the way they describe it, I think it's almost like what you can do at Galaxy's Edge. You can make a little robot.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I just feel like it'll be one of those things where it's easily forgotten.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kids like buying stuff.
I know.
So it's a little toy shop. They've got the San Francisco Makers Market, a storefront stocked with unique apparel, homeware, and more featuring Baymax and friends. So again, another kind of hodgepodge shop. Run-of-the-mill gift shop.
Yeah, so when I actually saw the concept art for this, when they were talking about the San Francisco Makers Market, I thought it was going to be like one of those markets that they have on Buena Vista Street, where they have like the little snacks.
Oh, yeah, like apples and stuff.
I didn't think it was going to be apparel and stuff,
No,
which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Legit clothes.
Yeah.
And then there's Aunt Cass Cafe, the second bakery cafe operated by Heroes Loving Aunt. Will serve dishes, soups, and freshly baked boudin sourdough bread bowls. So it's basically replacing the bakery right there.
Right, exactly.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much it. There's Rita's Turbine Blenders, which is replacing the Margarita stand, which is, again, basic same offerings, but just changing the theming. So again, if you liked how Pacific Wharf was before, never fear. It looks like almost everything's staying the same, just some different theming and actual new additions. So I'm excited for this. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm excited that come midsummer, you're going to be able to experience half of it. And then the new additions open up in August. So it's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and that we get to meet Baymax, which is going to be awesome. Like, I
Big
cannot wait to see that.
All right. And our final news story takes place over in actually both parks, the Disneyland Resort. We've got some new character meet and greets. Over in DCA, Nick Fury has already arrived at Avengers Campus to celebrate the launch of Secret Invasion, a new show on Disney Plus. Have not seen it yet.
Yeah, apparently people are liking it. So
Okay, we'll add it to the list of many, many shows we have to get to. And then next up, this is a soon-to-be-seen Indiana Jones himself, the man, will be making limited appearances at Disneyland Resort for the upcoming movie Dial of Destiny. This starts June 30th.
I'm really excited to see this movie.
Yes,
Do I think it's going to do well?
Limit expectations.
Yes. Do I think it's going to do well? Probably not.
Yeah, I heard some folks that previewed it. It's not a great film.
Right.
But Harrison Ford, awesome
Nostalgia.
actor. Yeah, I mean, I love the original movies. They should have stopped probably with the 3, but who knows? We'll probably still end up seeing it.
Yes.
But apparently Caitlin's going to see it with or
On
without
my
me.
opening day, I'll be there.
But anyways, fun characters. If you like these two characters, make sure to go to the Disneyland Resort and see them yourself. All right, and that brings us to our main segment of this week's episode, and that is Disney's best water rides. So this is going to be fun because basically we included every ride, every water droplet in the park, every ride that has a water element. If you are floating in water, basically floating in water, that counts as a water ride. And again, you're some of these I would argue are dark rides, right? And my mind goes straight to Pirates of the Caribbean. I would consider that a Disney classic dark ride. But for the purposes of this game, we're going to say it is a water ride.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So for the whole idea of this episode, when we were originally thinking about it, is when you think of a Disney water ride, our minds automatically go to Splash Mountain or Grizzly River Run.
Yeah, like the purpose is to get wet, is what my mind goes to.
But, however, Disneyland has other water rides without the intention of getting wet. You were just sailing through water calmly or whatever it is. So this was kind of a fun way to kind of re-explore all of these because I'm like, oh my gosh, some of these I'm like, I totally forgot that you're even in water. So this is going to be a good one, and this is going to be very hard to pick which one is our favorite at the end.
At the very end, we're going to have to go through every single section here, all three, and we did not discuss this before. I hinted at it that we're going to have to do this, but real time, we're going to have to decide, each of us, which one is our favorite from each list. So 3 favorites out of this whole thing. And it's going to be a little tough. Play along at home and let us know what your favorites are. But let's go ahead and dive in. So first up are the water rides at Walt Disney World. Mm-hmm. Hello, East Coasters. Hopefully we get some of this right. If we are wrong on some of this, feel free to reach out. First one is Cali River Rapids.
Yes.
This is the water ride in Animal Kingdom, correct?
It is, and we have never been on this ride. It's basically, for those who don't know, it's pretty much the same ride. Again, different layout, but it's very similar to Grizzly River Run over at DCA.
Yes, much calmer, and I would say less good.
Honestly, yeah.
Is that a word?
Like I would say the Disneyland, like the Grizzly River Run is way better.
Yes, from what we've seen on YouTube and stuff, and I think everyone agrees that this is a very calm, more on the boring side water ride. Yeah.
But it's one of those where we're like, we don't want to ride it because we don't want to get soaking wet.
Yeah, so we'll ride it next time we ever make it out there. But let me tell you a couple of fun facts about Cali River Rapids. It was almost named Tiger Rapids Run when it was first being thought up. And then second is scents of jasmine and ginger are pumped into a section of the ride.
Ooh.
So I guess you get a nice whiff of those scents.
I wonder if they do any scent pumping at Grizzly River Run.
Possibly like pine or something.
Yeah.
I don't notice like it hit me at any point.
Yeah.
This is supposedly pretty apparent. Like you know when it's happening. Okay, so that's ride number 1. Number 2 is Frozen Ever After.
And this ride, for those who haven't been on it, is in Epcot, and this is an amazing ride.
Caitlin loves this ride.
I have no idea. Again, I like Frozen, but I'm not like someone who's like, I'm obsessed. Like I have to watch Frozen every other week. I'm kind of like, oh yeah, sure, it's a great movie. But for some reason, this ride, like every time we were there, I have to go on this ride.
Whoa.
It's fun. It has like you go down a waterfall. You
go backwards at some point?
You go backwards because Elsa's powers push you back.
That Elsa, she's a powerful one.
Seriously. So, I mean, it's a hole in one. You get to do many things on this ride.
Okay.
You get to see Olaf.
You sold me. I'll ride it. A couple of fun facts on this one is it replaced Maelstrom, a ride all about Norway. Fun fact, I was able to ride this before it was frozen. It was my not first trip to Walt Disney World, but first trip that I remembered. I went as a toddler, apparently. Don't remember that much, but I went when I just graduated high school, I think.
Okay.
Went with my parents, and yeah, we rode this ride, and it was cool. Same exact ride today, except it's frozen themed, but they kept the boats, they kept the track, everything's the same except for the theming.
The boats are really neat too.
The boats are neat.
And then
second fun fact is this was the first ride to use all electric animatronics.
Wow.
So before that it was all pneumatic, so using hydraulic fluid type things.
Okay.
And now they use all electric.
They look great.
That's what it looks so fluid, and the faces look so, all that stuff.
And just everything in there based on like the colors, and it's exquisite. I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Next up, our number 3 ride in Walt Disney World is Living with the Land.
Yes. And again, another ride in Epcot that we absolutely love. Who doesn't love living with the land? It's such a fun ride when we first went to Disney World, because I haven't been as many times as Caleb has. I was kind of like, okay, that sounds boring. Like, why would anybody want to go on that? We went on it and I'm like, this ride is absolutely amazing. And I can't put my finger on why I love it so much. I just love it.
Yeah, it's fun. It is a weird one because it is very tame. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's, trying to kind of teach you something about
Agriculture. And
yeah.
just, yeah. Which again, it's so fun going in that room and seeing all the different things that they're growing.
Yeah, I think it's the music, it's the Disney storytelling element, it's the fact that you're at Disney World, that helps. And yeah, it's just a fun, lax ride. It's a great rest your feet ride. A couple of fun facts for this one is the original name was Listen to the Land.
Whoa.
The name was changed to what we know today in 1993. So, Listen to the Land. Sounds like a song title. And then our second one is the barking dog in the farm scene was modeled after Walt Disney's dog. Now, I don't know if this is right. I need actually Emily from Make It Magical to confirm this because she's the person that knows all things Walt. That's what the thing said. And so I'm just going to go with it.
Okay, so I have to tell you, when you were reading the notes, I literally thought you were going to say that the barking dog in the farm scene was modeled after Walt Disney. I was like, what?
What's the matter with you?
I don't know.
No.
But yes, Emily, is that true?
We'll see. According to this fact site, it is.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
So
but...
let's we'll verify that. Next up is Navi?
Yes.
Navi
Navi.
River Journey.
This is another great one over in Animal Kingdom. Again, this is one that I do see a lot of people, they
bash on this
like
one
this
because
one a
it's so short. I will give them that.
It's very short, but it's one of those that once you're in it, it's very pretty. There's only a couple of animatronics, right?
I think, yeah, the rest of it's screens.
Yes.
And little features, but there's, of course, the, what they call her. She's the shaman. She is impressive.
Oh, and she's massive.
Huge. That animatronic is insane.
Still, my favorite part is when you look up, it almost looks like lily pads, but there's like little footprints going across like the
and they
ceiling.
move.
It's really neat.
It's a fun ride. It's very visually stunning, but it is one where if you waited an hour, I could totally understand you being like, this was not worth the wait. So it's a fun one. If you can get on there for probably 30, 40 minutes or less, it's worth the wait. But fun fact for this one is Dr. Paul Frommer wrote the song lyrics for the attraction. He created the Navi language for the original movie.
Okay.
So they brought him back to create that original song.
I can't imagine creating a fake language.
I couldn't either. Someone did that for Game of Thrones. This guy did this for Avatar. My mind does not work that way.
No.
So pretty impressive. Next up in our last Walt Disney World attraction is the Grand Fiesta Tour. This is in the Mexico Pavilion. And again, in Epcot. Holy smokes, Epcot has a lot of water rides. A couple of fun facts for this one. Oh, well, before we do that, it's the Three Caballeros.
Yes. This ride left me very confused.
Caitlin did not like it much.
Here's my thing. Turn it into a Coco ride. Come on. It's perfect.
It's made for Coco.
It's made for Coco. When we went through this ride, I think we've only been on it once or twice. I'm kind of like, what just happened? Like
it's mostly screens. It's a very cheaply done ride, and I'm actually going to tell you why it's cheaply done. But it replaced El Rio del Tiempo in 2007, a ride all about Mexico's history. So it was informative. It was teaching people things, and probably people were like,
"That's awesome.
Boring. We want animated characters singing into our faces." So.
Aww.
They threw in the Three Caballeros. The original plan for the attraction called for portions of the ride to actually be outside and for the attraction to be longer than it ended up being. This attraction wasn't going to be part of the opening day attractions for Epcot and was planned for Phase 2. There were delays in development for some of the other attractions planned that forced Disney to push up the construction date. They realized that there wouldn't be enough attractions to meet the opening day demand, so they had to rush to get the Mexico attraction completed. The ride had to be shortened by about 40%, nearly half of the original planned ride length, and was redesigned to be entirely indoors.
Interesting. Yeah, I still don't
Budget
get
cuts
it.
strike again.
But I'm kind of like, you had such a great opportunity. Coco came out how long ago? Come on.
A while. I know. Let's all start a petition. Coco in the Mexico
That
Pavilion.
would be absolutely amazing.
It would be. I'm a huge Coco fan. One of my favorite movies ever.
Yes. And just the ambiance of the ride itself when you're going in, like there's that restaurant in there that we've never been to. I have no idea what it's called. But it's really pretty inside and like
it looks like a little market. I love that. I love that area.
It's great in there.
All right. That brings us to Disneyland's water attractions. Let's start it off with, and I'm sorry, I didn't say this earlier. We're not naming off ones that are in both coasts. We're going to cover those in its own section.
Okay.
Let me specify that. People are probably screaming, no, there's more.
Right.
We're going to go what's just in Disney World, what's just in Disneyland, and then what's in both parks.
Right.
Both coasts. Okay, Disneyland, Grizzly River Run. Gosh, this ride's so good.
This is one of your favorites.
One of my favorites in Disney's California Adventure. You'll get soaked. You're pretty much guaranteed to get soaked during these rafts. They're designed to spin down the hill to add some scariness to it.
And you have to ride it at night because when you go through like the Grizzly Cave and you hear it like roaring or whatever, growling, it's so scary and again, so fun.
You're disoriented because you can't see very well. It is, and you'll meet instant friends. You'll make instant friends with the people with you because you're all in this together. You're all screaming, and it's just a fun time.
Some really fun story.
Okay, I'm gonna share a brief.
Are you gonna share?
Just briefly. Okay, I'm just gonna share it briefly, and this is embarrassing as all get out, but I'm gonna say it for the show and for all your pleasure at home. Okay, so before we dive in, if you're eating, don't eat right now. Just wait. But stop laughing. We went to ride this ride.
Wait, hold on. Are you sure you want to
I'm just going to share it. It happens to everybody.
Okay.
It's a natural thing.
I don't know about that.
Okay. So I apparently ate something at the park that my stomach did not agree with. So we were waiting in this line for so long, and I started getting upset because my stomach's hurting, and I'm like, I just want to ride the ride. Yes,
and I kept telling him, go to the restroom, and I will stand here and I'll wait. It's okay. I'll tell the cast member I'll just wait next to her, and it'll be fine. No, Caitlin, I'm fine. I'm like, okay.
Okay, so I make the decision to just go on the ride. Like, let's just see what happens. So once I sit in the raft, I'm like, this is the worst mistake I've ever made in my life. My stomach's cramping so bad. And I'm like, dude, something's got to happen.
No, and then backstory, we're in the raft, almost at the tube, with another family with like these
they're
young,
like middle school girls, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're going through the ride. Like, I'm trying to talk because I'm so excited because that ride makes me so nervous because I don't like getting really wet, but it's always just so fun that you kind of just overcome it and get over it. And Caleb is silent. He's not looking at me. He looks like he's mad. And these poor girls are like, oh, geez, who's she with?
Yeah. And I was just gripping the seat, just like, get me off this thing.
Yes.
And there was one moment where Caitlin's like, she keeps asking me, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk. Like, it's taking me everything within me to not, like, mess this whole entire trip up.
The family was just staring at him. Like, what is this guy's problem? And you guys, let me pull it together. Give me a second. Okay, so we're getting ready.
We're getting ready to go down the water.
We go
thing.
down the waterfall, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay." We go down the waterfall. He death grips like the center of the raft, and he has like this horrible look on his face that he's literally about to lose it as we're going down the waterfall.
It was not good. I ran to the bathroom after that. It was not fun. So there's my fun story about almost messing up our day at Disney.
Oh my gosh, it was the best memory ever.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, enough of that.
Anyway, back to Disneyland.
Fun fact, the water for this ride is stored in the water features of Pacific Wharf during refurbishments. So that little pond lake thing,
yeah,
that's where they pump the water over to so they don't have to waste water because we live in a very dry state.
I've always wondered what they do because I can't imagine how many gallons of water are in that ride because it's always just... there's so much water.
Yeah, so much water. All right, attraction number 2 is Storybook Land Canal Boats.
This is a great one. It's one of those where I feel like a lot of people kind of skip over because they're like, I've done it.
It's always a long wait, to be honest.
And I feel like if you get into a boat with kind of like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. We had one time where it was kind of like there was these kids that were crying and they were like, they're not really feeling it, and the parents are like just done because it's hot. If you get in like a boat where it's like really low energy, you're kind of like, okay. But if you get in the boat and you're like, yes.
They were upset, and it made for a really weird because the kids kept trying to stand up and the cast member having to do the awkward, please sit down.
Yeah. So it's kind of like one of those you're like, oh, yeah, this is weird. But it's such a great ride because it's very calm. One of my favorite parts is going under, remember like the little overhang that's always lit up at night next to like Casey Jr.'s?
Yes.
It's so pretty there.
Gorgeous. And I love when Casey Jr.'s train comes riding by. That scene of just being on a boat with all these little, what models, basically, of the princess castles and stuff. And then you have this. It's beautiful.
It's so pretty.
So fun. This is home to the oldest tree in Disneyland, the Mugo Pine. It's over 150 years old. It's a tiny little thing.
Interesting.
Fun fact. And then second is the original ticket booth is still there. So back when Disneyland actually took tickets to ride rides, that lighthouse in the queue, the red one, that used to be the ticket booth.
Oh, so that's the red striped little thing, right?
Lighthouse thing, yeah.
Yes, that's
right in the middle of the queue.
That says Storybook Land on it. I love that.
Fun factoid. And ride number 3 is Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage, or a claustrophobic person's worst nightmare.
Yes. Again, is it visually stunning on the outside? Yes, it's a beautiful ride. It always looks so refreshing just looking at that really pretty blue water. However, Caleb and I we've been on this one time, and that was probably it. We get super claustrophobic, and that ride is not very good for people like us.
And especially post-pandemic, when you're all breathing the same gross air, and again, that just kind of creeps me out.
That's just our opinion. We have friends who absolutely love the ride. It's great for the littles, and it's one of those things where it's like it's really cool seeing Nemo and just going under the water. It's a fun ride.
I love Finding Nemo.
Yes.
I wish I could ride it. I always ride Epcot's version. What's it called? The Big Blue.
I almost said the Big Blue World.
Big Blue World.
The Seas with Nemo.
Seas with Nemo and Friends, something like that. But I always ride that ride because I can ride that. It's like Little Mermaid almost, right? The same ride vehicle. But I can't ride this one because it's too tight quarters. Don't like it. It's allegedly one of the costliest rides to maintain at Disneyland. So those subs aren't cheap to maintain. Water ruins everything, electronics, metal, all that good stuff. So I think over time they have to do a lot of upgrades, which cost a lot of money. Fun fact is one submarine has never had its name changed. Nautilus has had the same name since 1959. This was a submarine that was christened on opening day. The christening was performed by Mrs. Mildred Nelson, the wife of the chief machinist on the real USS Nautilus, the first nuclear-powered submarine.
Oh, wow.
So it's got a very storied history, and so they kept it the same. All the other subs have different names when they changed it over to Finding Nemo, and this one has the same original name.
That's really neat that they kept it, though.
Yeah.
All the little Disney piece of history.
I love it. All right, now we have made it to the list of attractions found both in Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And these are some of the classics. First up is Splash Mountain, which is no longer, / Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Right.
So everyone knows what this ride is. I'm not going to re-explain something that everyone knows what it is. I'm also not going to share facts because honestly, it's a ride that doesn't exist anymore technically, and because Tiana's isn't here yet. So I don't know. Fun fact is it's becoming Tiana's Bayou Adventure in the next year or two. So that's that.
All right.
It's a good one though.
It's a good one.
We had our last ride this last trip.
It was so much fun.
And didn't get very wet. Fared pretty well.
Goodness.
Second attraction is the Jungle Cruise.
Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, the Disneyland version is so different than the Disney World version. I myself think that the Disney World version is way better than ours. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. However, I love the cave feature at Disney World. I love that it's next to Skipper's Canteen.
It's a little longer.
It's a whole thing. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good ride. Walt originally wanted to use real animals, but that idea, good grief, was quickly scrapped. So Walt was like thinking this is going to be a zoo kind of thing, and then was like, I think the Imagineers were like, no, that's a terrible idea.
That would have been a nightmare.
The water is purposely murky and green. They add chemicals to make it look more realistic and to hide the track / machinery in the water.
I wonder if it's just like a dye or...
Yeah, some kind of dye.
It's so green.
It's very green.
You literally can't see through it. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, attraction number 3 is Pirates of the Caribbean. All right, people at home, is it Pirates of the Caribbean or Pirates of the Caribbean? You tell me.
I feel like the proper pronunciation of it is Caribbean, but I say Caribbean when referring to the ride.
Yes, but it's funny because when we say we're going to the Caribbean, like on a cruise, we say Caribbean.
Yes. Disney magic right there. I don't know what to tell you guys.
And that's that. We're moving on. The Monkey Chandelier in Pieces of 8, which is the gift shop right outside of Pirates of the Caribbean, inspired the character in the movies, Jack the Monkey. Fun fact. It was originally going to be a walkthrough attraction, but was changed to a boat system after the success of It's a Small World.
And speaking of success, I think the ride version at Disneyland is way better.
You're going to open up a can of worms here. So, speaking of Clayton and Emily with Make It Magical and Johnny at the DMSW podcast, my boy shared a hot take And by hot take, I mean, wow, that was something. He claims, if you missed his episode, he claims that the Walt Disney World version of Pirates of the Caribbean is better than Disneyland's. I've never heard that uttered out of anyone's mouth until this moment. So I instantly was like, oh, heck no, dude. So he got he was successful in getting the group talking because we were all sharing notes back and forth of like how ridiculous it was. And so Johnny, we love you, man.
We love Johnny.
We love you.
Yeah.
But you were wrong. You were just flat out wrong on that take.
Johnny is absolutely amazing. If you haven't checked out his podcast, definitely do that. It's the DMSW podcast.
Please do. He always does a fantastic job. Love the guy. But let me tell you, his opinion on this one is wrong. Disneyland's is like 3 times as long. It's got fantastic scenes. It's got 2 drops. It's got the history of Walt connected to it. The man walked the halls of Pirates of the Caribbean, and he has the audacity to say that Walt Disney World is better.
I don't know.
I'm just going to drop it. But folks, sound off. Is that what people say on Instagram? Sound off in the comments.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, let's move on.
It's a hot take right there.
The last ride you can find at both coasts is It's a Small World, like we mentioned. Everyone knows what this is. The song gets stuck in your head. It has creepy little doll children all around, but it's a classic. It really is.
I do agree, and I feel like the Disneyland version is way better.
Oh my
than
gosh,
Disney World.
Our facade, it's 400 times better.
Especially during Christmas time, like you can't beat it.
Has nothing.
It's stunning.
Stunning. Features more than 289 doll children. This is what the fact thing said. I don't like the term doll children, but let's just say dolls. So nearly 300. The song is sung in 5 different languages in the attraction: English, Japanese, Swedish, Italian, and Spanish.
I love this ride.
Love this ride. We actually ride it all the time.
Yeah, it's one where I kind of was like, I don't want to do that for like years. And then randomly we went on it to get out of the heat. And I'm like, we've been missing out for so long. And the Christmas version is our favorite.
Oh,
like,
it's so good.
We love going in there for Christmas.
So good. And the message is great. It is really good. So, okay, now it is time. It is the hard part of this episode to rate our favorite one out of the 3 sections.
Right.
You've got to say what our favorite is.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Should we start with Disney World?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's go up to the top. Let me remind you, everyone at home, play along, please, and then share what your list is with us. Cali River Rapids, Frozen Ever After, Living with the Land, Navi River Journey, or Grand Fiesta Tour. What is your favorite out of those? What is that, 4? Mm-hmm. 5. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say random words. 7.
Are you going first?
No, you.
Okay.
Please.
This is a very easy one. Mine's Frozen Ever After, for sure.
Wow. Frozen Ever After.
Like I already told you guys, it's one of those rides where like I have to go on it every time. And I'm like a little girl. I smile like so big when we go on it. And I love the music. I love the drops. I love getting pushed backwards. I think that tech is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just one of those where I'm like, I would truly be sad if I didn't get to go on that ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fair answer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go actually Living with the Land. This is my favorite. I listen to the audio from it all the time at home while I'm working, and I watch the ride. It's just fun. It's one of those original Epcot-esque informative rides, and kind of what the what do you call it? The park was created for.
Yeah.
Was to kind of educate in a fun way, and it still does that very, very well.
Yeah.
So the fact that it has stood the test of time, it's still around, it's not slapped with IP all over the place, I think it's an impressive ride.
And it's one that they didn't have to update either.
Yeah.
To stay in the now kind of thing. So I love that ride too.
Science is cool. Yes. All right. Second list is just the Disneyland attractions. It is Grizzly River Run, Storybook Land Canal Boats, and Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage.
Another easy one for me. I feel like I'm going to go with Grizzly River Run.
Yeah.
Again, the memories, as you guys heard previously a couple minutes ago.
I'm scarred, so probably not that one.
That's one. And again, it's not something that I always want to do, even though I really want to.
Yeah.
I don't like getting head to toe soaked, and that ride, you don't know. And so we normally ride it really late at night, and those are always the best memories. It's so fun, just death gripping that thing when you're getting slammed with a wave.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's fun. And again, like we said, you make instant friends with the people with you because you're just getting soaked together.
Yeah.
And you're just cracking up and screaming. It's a fun time.
Yeah, and it's one ride, again, where it's not slapped with Disney IP, which is unique, that we like it so much, because it did beat out Nemo for me, Storybook Land Canal Boats, which has all the Disney stuff in it. So I would have to say that one.
Yeah, I'm going to vote that as well. Easy for me. That's my favorite part of the park, Grizzly Peak. I would stay all day there. I love the music. I love the atmosphere. I love those trees. And I just love the feeling. It's just like, I love it. It's connected right there with California Adventure, the Grand Californian Hotel.
Yeah.
And it's just a fantastic, chill area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Grizzly River Run just because it has a lot of fun memories. One, not so much fun, but all
it was fun.
Oh, sure. For you, for others involved. All right. So Grizzly River Run wins that. And then finally, this is going to be the hardest, I think. Attractions found both in Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Splash / Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This is kind of hard. Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, or It's a Small World.
This one's very hard for me.
It should be. These are all classics. All.
So I feel like it's one of those things where I'm trying to, oh my gosh. And since we're doing this real time, you guys are going to hear my thought process on this. So normally Splash Mountain is one that I feel like we don't have to ride every single time. And if we skip it, I'm usually okay with it. However, when we do ride it, we have an amazing time. Like, we love it. Then you have Jungle Cruise, which I absolutely love. Again, it's one of those where I feel like I could do without it. However, if we're in Disney World, I could not do without it because it's one of my favorite rides in Magic Kingdom, especially like I mentioned with Skipper's Canteen. And then you have Pirates, which is my favorite ride growing up. Now I would say it's Indy. But there's something about being in Pirates, like you mentioned, with all the history and just nostalgia of it. We had a trip during the time when I think it was close to refurbishment. I remember being so bummed. Like, it's such a routine. Like, we go to Pirates every trip. Like, we just ride it multiple times. So that's always hard as well. I don't think Small World's going to be up there for me. Again, I love it, but I don't think that it would ever beat out Jungle Cruise or Pirates.
Okay.
So, I think out of just nostalgia's sake, I think I'm going to do Pirates.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those where, like, let's say you had to get rid of one, I would never get rid of Pirates.
Yeah.
So it would have to be that.
Great boat.
For me.
That's same.
It's hard, though, because, like, I love Jungle Cruise and I love Splash / Tiana. So I'm just kind of like...
They're all great rides. None of them are bad. It's just, which one do you like most? And I think, mine, it gets the vote because it's in New Orleans Square. Fantastic. Amazing land.
Stunning.
It's so good. And again, it has those ties to Walt. And when they have, Jungle Cruise does too. I'm not trying to discount that. But again, the fact that this was one of, I think, the last rides that Walt worked on, and the stories and his connection, how excited he was to see this ride completed. Unfortunately, I don't think he did. But he was so... There's a story that he tells, or his wife says, tells. His wife say.
His wife told, yeah.
Yeah. And she basically says that, like, Walt was like a giddy schoolboy wanting to show her his project.
Mm-hmm. And he would laid like the wooden boards down for
yeah,
him to walk
it was
around.
filthy. It was muddy and just dirt. And he was just excited nonetheless, just saying, this is what this room's going to, he could see it all in his head. This is what this room's going to look like. This is what this room's going to look like. And to be that passionate about something, and that's just amazing. That's really cool.
And I truly, if you think about it, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I don't think Disneyland would be Disneyland without Pirates. There's just something about like the smell and just the feeling, the music.
Yeah.
It's kind of all encompassing in that like Disney-ness, if you must.
Sure.
But yeah, I can't imagine the Disney trip
and they've been able to, again, like it had some, parts of the ride that aged poorly, and they've updated them well, I would argue, and have made them a little more for today's audience. And it still has the charm that it did 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Pirates of the Caribbean gets the vote. I think that's honestly, that was the grand one, right? That's like number one. So that was fun.
Let us know what you think, especially on the last one where their rides are both at Disneyland and Disney World. That was a very hard choice. Let us know. Did you pick Pirates? Did you do Splash / Tiana? Did you do Jungle Cruise? Or did you surprise us and do Small World?
Woohoo! I bet you all like the 4-year-olds are all Small World. Thank you so much for listening. You can find us over on Instagram at Market House Podcast. Make sure to follow us over there for pictures from the park and exciting news and announcements if they allow us to do so. Consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Giant help to the show. Remember to use our Getaway Today link for your future trip bookings and check out the episode details for that special link. Join us next week for another episode. It's been a blast.
Bye.